Here are some phrases to say when you are surprised. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Good. All right. Darn. Darn. D-R-N. Darn. Darn. You scared me to death. You scared me to death. To death. You scared me to death. Very good. You scared. You scared me. You scared me to. You scared me to death. Very good. Now, if we saw something very surprising, we might say to someone else, "Do you know what I saw?" 你知道我看什么？ Do you know what I saw? Do you know? No. Do you know? What? Do you know what? Do you know what I? Do you know what I saw? We could ask our friend, and they would say, "What?" And then we can say, "I saw a spider." I saw a spider. 蜘蛛. Now let's do some review. Last week, 上周 going to the supermarket. So, now all the easy things I talked about in the easy video you probably don't need, like where is the cucumber or do you have any ginger? You already know those. So what we're going to talk about is some more advanced things, like if you need to return something. There are some specific words you may need to know. So for instance, receipt. Receipt. That's the piece of paper you get that shows what you bought. And you might say, I need to return this. Here's my receipt. Alright, so I need to return this. Show them this that you're returning. And then here's my receipt. They will want your receipt to make sure that you bought it. All right. The next thing we'll talk about is talking about produce. So we have fresh produce, we have rotten produce, and then we have the produce in the middle. So rotten produce, you know it. It looks like white, or it stinks, smells bad. It's gone totally bad. You wouldn't eat it ever. Fresh produce, you know what it looks like. It looks just like it should. All right, but in the middle, there are some things that you might think, oh, what is that? How do I describe that? So a few things that we might say on the range of fresh to rotten would be something like mold, M-O-L-D. Sometimes bread gets moldy or some fruit gets moldy. You can sometimes cut it off and still eat the fruit. Sometimes you can't. But that's one thing, mold. Now another thing that you might think of whenever you're looking at fruit is it might look withered. So especially if you have, mostly vegetables, they might look withered. And that means instead of looking nice and sharp like this, it's kind of withered up like this. And that's not quite rotten maybe, or maybe it is, but it could be anywhere on that scale. W-I-T-H-E-R-E-D, withered. All right. Some other things you might want to talk about would be the expiration date or the sell by date. That's the date on a lot of things that you want to make sure you buy it by. You can also sometimes smell it, and it smells a little funky, is what many people will say. That's kind of not exactly in the dictionary, but we often use funky to say, well, that doesn't smell right. We could also say that something smells rank. So funky, F-U-N-K-Y, it's a little bit strange. Rank, R-A-N-K, it smells really bad. Now on the other end of things, on the very fresh side, or maybe the not ripe yet, so a fruit goes from unripe to ripe, and usually you eat it when it's ripe, to rotten. You don't want to eat it. So sometimes in this area between unripe and ripe, we might use words like firm. So this means it's very hard, maybe it's a little too hard, or depending on the food, it might be good that it's firm, F-I-R-M. We also use words like crisp. So some vegetables, you want them to be crisp. So when you break it, it goes psh, crisp. Right? You wouldn't want it to be kind of floppy. Some vegetables you want floppy. Other vegetables you don't. Floppy, like that. So crisp, C-R-I-S-P. Floppy, F-L-O-P-P-Y. So these are just a few words that you might use when you're at the supermarket that you may not know how to say yet. So what I'd like you to do is to think about some things that you would like to know how to say better at the supermarket, or when you're out getting groceries, anything like that. And you can do is bring those into class on Saturday, and we'll look at them together and talk about them together.